You know that feeling at work? Like you're playing a game, but you don't actually know all the rules? Well, today we're going to unlock the playbook for professional self defense. And we're using Jotham S. Stein's Negotiate Like a CEO as our guide. So get ready to level up your career game because trust me, what you don't know can absolutely hurt you. And I mean, right out of the gate, the book just hits us with this stark truth. It's a real wake up call, isn't it? The idea that no matter how high you climb that ladder, you're just never completely safe. And that is exactly why we need to dig into this today. So, Stein immediately just pulls back the curtain on all these illusions that, let's be honest, a lot of us fall for. The myth that your company's going to be loyal forever, the dream of permanent job security, or the idea that things will just always be fair. He basically argues that if you're not actively protecting yourself, you are just wide open and vulnerable. And he doesn't just talk theory here. No, he uses 59 gripping stories from real-life cases to show us all the cracks in our professional armor. So yeah, this isn't just a guide. It's more like a mirror, and it's reflecting our own weak spots right back at us. All right, so how do we actually start building that armor? Well, it all begins with the paperwork. Let's really get into the nitty-gritty of these core agreements, the contracts that truly define and, more importantly, protect your entire career. Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. Stein introduces this absolutely brilliant concept he calls the professional prenup. And I mean, think about it for a second. You wouldn't get married without talking about the future, right? Of course not. So why on earth do we start our jobs, which are huge financial and emotional commitments, with way less foresight? What he's talking about is getting everything down in writing before a problem ever pops up. What happens to my equity if I leave? What severance am I actually entitled to? How am I protected if the company gets sold? All that stuff. Wow. This quote just cuts right to the absolute heart of the matter, doesn't it? In a world where loyalty can be so transactional, your contract really is your compass. It's your North Star. It is the one thing that's going to guide you when things inevitably get a little rocky. It's just such a powerful reminder that you and only you are your own first line of defense. At will employment, I mean, it sounds kind of harmless, right? But the way Stein puts it, it's basically a silent guillotine hanging over most of our careers, especially here in America. What it means is your employer can let you go at any time for pretty much any reason or for literally no reason at all. And that's why negotiating for things like a guaranteed notice period or specific severance triggers, that's not just a nice little perk. No, that's about building your own safety net. It's essential. And this metaphor just captures that risk so perfectly. You are on that tightrope from the very second you accept that job offer. The only, and I mean only, safety net you've got is the one you negotiated for yourself before you ever took that first step. All right, let's talk about those huge make or break moments in a career. I'm talking about getting that exciting new job offer or maybe finding out your company's being acquired. These are the times when, yeah, you have the most to gain, but you also have the most to lose. You know that feeling when you get an offer letter? It feels like a celebration, right? But what it really is your first test of leverage. And Stein's advice here is so simple, but so powerful. Step 1, just slow down. Read every single word. Step 2, really scrutinize the equity and the bonus structures. Step 3, don't be afraid to negotiate things like relocation or even legal support to review the contract. And his pro tip, and I love this one, sometimes the most powerful tool you have is just silence. Don't feel pressured to rush and say yes. And here's the kicker, really. That very first negotiation, it sets the tone for your entire relationship with that company. It's your chance to signal that you know your value and that you respect yourself enough to advocate for it, because you might not get another chance. Okay, but what happens when your whole company gets bought? I mean, that kind of news can turn your entire world upside down, right? Stein basically walks us through a survival guide for this. He explains these critical protections, like something called a change in control clause. You can think of it like your personal golden parachute. It's what makes sure you get a payout if the new owners come in and decide to, clean house. It's all about protecting yourself from the aftershocks of a big corporate earthquake. And this is just such a critical takeaway. The time to negotiate for your safety is when the seas are calm, not when the storm is already here. Because once the chaos starts, it's almost always too late. All right, now we're going to dive into two of the absolute trickiest parts of any employment agreement, ownership and freedom. And let me tell you, this is the part of the contract where the devil isn't just in the details, he pretty much owns the whole printing press.
Equity. It's supposed to be the golden ticket, right? The big promise of a life-changing payday. But Stein gives us a huge warning here. it can also be a total mirage. He breaks down how things like vesting schedules, which are really just fancy waiting periods before you actually own your stock, can be designed to work against you. It's all about understanding what you are really being offered, not just the shiny number they put on the paper.
Man, what a powerful reality check that is. Equity is not ownership. It's a promise. And as we all know, promises can be broken. That's why you have to do your homework and really understand the terms inside and out. Now for the other side of that coin, your freedom. We're talking about those non-compete clauses. They can feel like these invisible shackles that limit where you can work and even who you can work with long after you've left a company. But the good news is, Stein gives us the playbook on how to push back, on how to soften these terms and really protect your future career mobility. Short, powerful, and absolutely critical. Your freedom to work where you want to in the future is one of the most valuable assets you have. Don't sign it away without a fight. Don't give it up without knowing exactly what you're agreeing to. Okay, we're going to shift gears here into some heavier territory. What happens when things go seriously wrong? When you're faced with real injustice at work? Let's talk about your rights, and more importantly, how you can protect them. And this is where the book gets really personal, really raw. Stein shares these powerful stories of people who had the courage to speak up against discrimination, to blow the whistle on illegal stuff, and to fight back when the company retaliated. But his message is crystal clear. If you're going to fight for what's right, you absolutely have to be smart about it. That means documentation is power. You have to document everything. And getting legal counsel isn't just a good idea, it's essential. And that really is the crucial balancing act, isn't it? It's about finding that line between courage and caution, being brave enough to stand by your principles, but also being strategic and protected when you do decide to raise your voice. And that brings us to what might be Stein's single most important piece of advice in the entire book. Never, ever go it alone. He makes such a powerful case for having a lawyer in your corner, not just for when things go bad, but to actually prevent them from going bad in the first place. It is your most critical piece of career insurance. You hope you never have to use it, but you'll be so glad you have it if you ever do. And I just think this is such a profound way to look at it. Paying for a lawyer isn't just an expense. It's an investment in protecting your job, for sure, but also in protecting your dignity, your future, and honestly, your own peace of mind. So, after all these stories, all these warnings, all this incredible advice, what's the big takeaway? What does it all boil down to? Well, it really comes down to one single core idea. And there it is. At its heart, Negotiate Like a CEO isn't just a book about legal tactics or contracts. It's a book about self-respect. It's this powerful reminder that you are your own best advocate, and a lot of the time, you're your only advocate. You are worth protecting, and that protection, it begins with negotiation. It begins the moment you decide to fight for what you truly deserve. So I'll just leave you with this question. After everything we've talked about today, what is the one thing you are going to negotiate for in your career, starting right now?